I'd like to call this December 7th, 2021 meeting of the Borough Council of Mechanicsburg to order. We will begin with a pledge to the flag, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Roll call.
President Weber.
Here.
Vice President Miller.
Here.
Councilman Knight. Here. Councilman Anderson.
Here.
Councilman Hoover.
Here.
Councilman Tillman.
Here.
Mayor Ritter. Municipal Chair. President
Present.
Engineer Vogt.
Here.
Chief Myers.
Here.
Chief Knapp.
Here.
EMC Royal.
Here.
Manager Zaneski.
Here.
Assistant Manager Boyd. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Are there any guests this evening?
I have none, sir.
Thank you. All right, we've come to the first point in our meeting where citizens have the opportunity for comments and or requests. We ask you to limit your time to 3 minutes, and if that's not enough time, you have a second opportunity at the end of the meeting to make further comments. Are there any citizens' comments or requests at this time? Hearing none, we move on to correspondence.
I have three pieces of correspondence, sir. The first one is a letter from the Emergency Management Coordinator, Borough. In that letter, he discussed a few things that he had some concerns with, mainly about emergency medical services, the fire service, and the police service. He happens to be here. I provided you all with a copy of that letter. He happens to be here tonight if you have any questions. I feel it'd be appropriate if you directed those questions to him and he can answer them directly with you. I know that some of you have spoken with him since this letter has gone out, so I will turn that over to you for discussion.
Thank you. EMC World, do you have anything to say as a good word?
Sure. I would like to say I appreciate the members of council, more than half have already reached out to me in regards to this. I think that it has created a very useful dialogue between some of the thoughts that I had and concerns that I had, and where Borough Council feels on a number of issues and related to emergency services in the borough. I think that some of the issues that I addressed are ones that may not be the same issues that they appeared, and some of them are ones that I think we can continue to collaborate on working moving forward. But I'm also open to taking any questions anyone has.
Anyone have anything? Okay, thank you. I would also thank those of you who have responded personally to EMC World. Helps us move along a little more smoothly tonight. So thank you very much, and thanks for being open to listening to them. Appreciate that. Next item, please.
The next item is FNS Development Incorporated wrote a petition/letter for Borough Council to remove or to adjust the parking requirements. This one I'm going to actually read because this is a petition to change the zoning ordinance, and then it'll be up to council if they want to proceed with it or not. Dear Mrs. Sersky, as you're aware, we recently submitted a request to add a dwelling unit at 127 South Walnut Street. The variance request demonstrated that the only zoning deficiency was parking. While the details of the request were specific to the property and the zoning hearing board ultimately found that we did not meet the requirement for approval. The facts surrounding parking and multifamily uses was demonstrated to have an application in the borough. The following findings of fact were presented and are requested for your consideration in reducing the parking requirements for multifamily uses. The property exists in the Old Town zoning district where a more compact, pedestrian-friendly, and high-intensity development is intended. The National Apartment Association identifies the parking ratio of 2 spaces per apartment dwelling unit is high and overparks the use. The NAA identifies as a parking ratio of 1 to 1.5 spaces per unit is adequate for the use. On-street parking is available through the borough and not intended to replace off-street parking. The on-street parking is not overly utilized and would be available for guests and overflow parking. To underutilized parking as a waste of a managed resource. The borough is located on a CAT bus route, which demonstrates the reduced demand on automobiles for commuting by its residents. The community includes neighborhood shopping and downtown amenities, which reduce the demand for an automobile for shopping and other errands. Overparking uses unnecessarily increases impervious coverage and stormwater runoff of the community. Overparking uses increases the development cost and ultimately the affordability of housing provided. As a byproduct, this negatively impacts Cumberland County's shortage of affordable housing options, and reducing parking requirements is consistent in all ways with Cumberland County's affordable housing study and climate action plan. Where existing parking is not fully utilized or properties are managed accordingly, many municipalities have eliminated their parking requirements on a per unit basis and instead review parking studies and proposals on a case-by-case basis. We request that borough consider this request a petition to decrease the parking requirements in the borough, specifically the Old Town District, and more specifically for multifamily uses. I would be happy to attend the next council meeting to present this topic. Sincerely, Stephen Fleming, PE Managing Member of FNS Development, LLC. A little background on this. They got 4 units. They wanted to go to 5. The zoning permit was denied. They appealed it to the zoning hearing board. They asked for a variance on that. Attorney Cassidy and I defended the borough's position to the point that this was not a hardship, that the ordinance caused it was a hardship because of what they wanted to do. The zoning hearing board sided with the borough in this case, and denied the request for a variance. However, with that being said, one of the things, if council will remember, EDD is looking at the zoning ordinance, and one of the things that they brought up was an adjustment to the parking requirements in the zoning ordinance. So this is something that we can address at that time, or if council chooses to, or keep it as strict as what it is now. So there are opportunities for this in the future. This is not something that needs to be addressed separately and have the expense of that. So we can keep that in mind as we're moving through the zoning ordinance update with EPD.
Mr. Cassidy, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, so first of all, Manager Sasirsky did an excellent job summarizing the issues and the background here. And in terms of full disclosure, following the zoning hearing board hearing at which the variance application was denied, I did speak with the applicant and explain to them that there's another avenue available to them if they wanted to pursue this further, and that is to submit a request to council to consider an amendment to your zoning ordinance. That is something that happens on a regular basis where landowners don't obtain the zoning relief that they are seeking through the zoning hearing board, so they can request a zoning ordinance revision if that's something that council is inclined to pursue. If in this case, if you were to pursue an amendment of the zoning ordinance separate and in advance of the comprehensive rezoning that you're going through, the next step would be for council to simply direct this petition to your planning commission to develop a proposed ordinance to provide the relief that's requested. That draft ordinance would then come back to council for your consideration. You would not be required to approve it at that time, but if you were inclined to move forward with that ordinance, you'd simply authorize its advertisement. You'd have a hearing, public hearing on that proposed ordinance, and then following the public hearing, council would have an opportunity then to either approve or deny the ordinance.
Do we have a time frame yet on the
I have not heard back from them. I don't know where. I'd have to reach out to her again. So, I'm not sure what was going on out in Pittsburgh. I have to reach out to them and find out where we're at. They were supposed to get back to us with a next step timeline type of thing, and I haven't seen anything back from them yet.
Anybody have anything to add, any comments?
Only that I think that the planning commission at some point, whether through one process or another, preferably, I think the zoning revision through EPD would get the chance to take a look at this and provide their input.
Yep.
I would agree.
I agree.
Since we're already on that path anyway, why muddy the waters, right?
Okay, all right. The final one is a sort of another petition. It's a letter addressed to the Borough Council members. The residents of the intersection at East Portland Street and North Filbert Street are very concerned about the lack of signage or our dead Torrance Street. We are writing this letter to request signs on our street. My vehicle and a neighbor's vehicle have been damaged due to the lack of signage. We would please like to request a consideration of a dead-end sign as well as speed limit designation signs. There are none. The main reason for this request is that we have vehicles coming down our dead-end road, not realizing it is a dead end, and people have to do three-point turns to get out, or they reverse out. 3 vehicles have been damaged due to this. We are asking that you please take this request seriously and get some signs erected for our vehicle and property safety. One last item to consider is that Gross's Market is located on the street before us, Walnut Street, and a street right before Portland. We have fully loaded tractor and trailers mistakenly turning down our street, and they run up on the curbs, knock over street signs, and are nearly backing into other vehicles, so that they are able to make the turn onto North Filbert to get back on route. Something seriously needs to be done, and we are calling for your help. Thank you, Daniel Green, and it is signed by Teresa Hollinger, I can't read that one, Sharon and Dawn of 319 East Portland Street, Daniel Green, and Blair Reedy. So there's 5 or 6 signatures on that. We can have this looked at. I'm not sure. Portland Street would only be a dead-end street on the other side of Filbert, if I'm not mistaken, by definition. There's still a way to get out on North Filbert, the same way North Filbert is one way over there, so the only legal dead-end signs we could put up would be at that intersection on the far side of the intersection. So it wouldn't do any good to put them up along Portland, or on Portland along North Walnut Street, because they wouldn't be, we could put it up dead-ended ahead, but that doesn't stop them from turning in there. They still have access to get out on Filbert Street.
And given the track record of most tractor trailer drivers in Mechanicsburg, they're going to ignore the sign anyway. Sorry to be.
I mean, we can turn the letter over to the sergeant, to the traffic sergeant, see if he wants to take a look at it and go from there.
That's what I would suggest. Anybody else?
So where 401 East Portland, is that considered a dead end because the railroad track is behind it, or is there a way? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just a couple of houses, like 2 houses on that?
I think there's technically, I think 4 that would be affected, 3 that would be affected by this. The one on the corner of, the one on the north side of Portland there, across this intersection from North Filbert, the one that sits in the back corner, between Portland and North Filbert, and the one on the corner, it'd be the western corner of that intersection. Those 3 houses right there would be the ones that are mainly affected.
Yeah.
The one lady has a yard, or a fence right at the back of the sidewalk, and that one could be affected by tractor and trailers. I know when we plow snow, it's very difficult over there.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a lot of room to turn around.
Yeah. I'll turn that letter over to Chief. She can get it to Sergeant Dyer, and we can look into that and see if, what kind of signage would be legal over there.
Okay,
Okay?
sounds good.
That's all I have for correspondence.
All right. We need approval of the minutes from the regular meeting held on November 16th. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make that.
Thank you, Mr. Bucher. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony. Is there any discussion, corrections, additions, or deletions? Hearing none, Mrs. Martin?
Unless I hear a negative response, I will report the vote as unanimous.
And the minutes are approved. Engineers report, Mr. Rogowski.
Chairman, I have a report.
Thank you. Community liaison reports. Downtown Partnership, Mrs. Ireton.
So they continue to meet on the second Tuesday of the second Monday of every month. And we've been meeting at the gathering place. There's a couple of things in the works, inviting some engaging big downtown businesses, so we're super excited for that coming year.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, library, Mr. Pellman.
Okay, the library is hosting family Christmas party Saturday, December 11th, and they actually have two sessions. One at 1 o'clock and then two, and one starting at 2 o'clock. This Christmas party offers crafts and games as a visit from Santa, and you're to register online for just one, but there are two available. The library wants you to know there are gifts available at the library, gift cards, Crocs, magnets, and they still have T-shirts left over for friends of the Mechanicsburg Library. They have a winter reading program starting December 15th and running through February 15th. The more you read, the more it makes you eligible to win a prize. And there weren't a lot of details available when I checked, but you're supposed to check the website for more details as it comes close to that date. They are still offering the wine bags for their Read Between the Wines fundraiser. And if you have a wine drinking person in your family or on your gift list, they are selling rustic burlap wine bags for $10. Inside is a coupon for wine tasting at Christiana Winery on Main Street. And I can't remember the size, but it fits a wine bottle, and they're attractive-looking bags to gift the wine in. The library is closing for the holidays. It will be closed Friday the 24th, Saturday the 25th, and Sunday the 26th for Christmas, and it will be closed December 31st, which is a Friday, and Saturday the first of the year, and Sunday, January 2nd. So they will be closing for 3 days for each of the holidays. That's all I have.
Thank you. Always a thorough report, Mr. Tallman. Thank you. Museum Association, they held their candlelight tour this past Saturday, which was quite successful. I want to remind everyone that the passenger station, the freight station is open every Wednesday through Saturday from noon to 3 for the train demonstration or presentation, whatever you want to call it. I happened to go by there and go in the other day, and they changed it all around from previous years. So if you're used to what you used to see, you're going to see something different. And if you've never seen it, you owe it to yourself to go in and see the train layout they have for Christmas. It's really pretty cool. So I've had two gentlemen that have volunteered their time, and they do maintenance on the trains and the tracks almost daily to make sure that everything's up and running perfectly. So the little kids, to see the looks on those little kids' faces when they're looking at those trains is worth it all. So I encourage you to just stop in. It doesn't cost you anything other than signing your name so they would know someone was there. So we hope you can do that. All right, we are now to Downtown Program Service Manager, Rebecca Earing.
Good evening, everyone. You have a copy of my report. Unless I'm surprised or called upon, this will be my last Borough Council meeting before some of you. And so I just wanted to thank Councilman Tallman and Council President Weber and Rodney, who I very much miss, for all of the support that you've provided and assistance and help and guidance and just the esprit de corps that you've offered through your service here, and in particular in relation to what the redevelopment authority tries to bring to Mechanicsburg Borough. We'll miss you.
Thank you.
But I know we'll still be around, and I'll also call upon you. I'm going to move right to business and property updates because I have an update to my update. I note here for the Ritter's True Value hardware sale, the pending sale, that everything I mentioned here, it relates to Mike Faig. Mike Faig is a friend and associate who has Peg and Fagan, Mike Faig, Peg and Fagan, that's always very confusing, in downtown Shippensburg. Has been a member of Borough Council there and very active in their downtown group. He will be the property owner. His son, Kevin Faig, will own and manage the business. It will remain the same name, same type of business and all. That could take place the 31st, be effective January 1st. And I had mentioned to Darrell Westby, I wondered about the possibility of tying that in with the rent drop, because we've been buying our renters at Ritter's forever, of course. So that's appropriate, and it's it would be kind of a neat way to go out with the old and in with the new. And then I learned that December 31st is Jack Winchell's wedding anniversary, so he may be doing other things on New Year's Eve. We'll see. But that's very, very exciting. Sean Matthews.
I see him dressed in a toga anyway.
Oh, I don't even know about that. Maybe that's better. Sean Matthews is a West Main Street resident. He and his wife are looking to lease the former Vertibar space at 33 West Main Street to open a business called Paper and Clay. He is a sculptor, an artist. He's a professor at Messiah University, and he would use this as an art gallery, but also have classes there, small classes, 5, 6, 7 students at a time for the visual arts and in sculpturing, paper making, and working with clay. Smoking Pickles, I continue working with them. They're looking for a forever space, much larger space. We have narrowed our search to one. We are having a property appraised now. We'll have more information on that probably within the next 10 days or so. We have construction estimates. They were high. So we're really anxious to see what the bottom line price is on the property, which is off downtown. The Gingerbread Man, I have noted in my previous reports that they have applied for an economic development liquor license for the location on West Main Street. I checked with the PLCB earlier this week, and they have submitted all of their paperwork. We knew that, but it is in the queue, and they are working toward their hearing. Their hearing probably will not be this quarter. There's one other submission from a Shippensburg area business that applied in June. Gingerbread Man applied in September. The Shippensburg location is likely to be ready and be heard this quarter, but the license won't be issued until next year, likely. And the Gingerbread Man will be heard probably this quarter, and that will go to 2022. And as I mentioned before, there are a maximum of 2 of those licenses issued each calendar year. So that would take us to 2023 for any other applicants or contenders. You may have read that CVS is closing 900 stores in the next 3 years. That made me wonder about the CVS on Simpson Street, which is very convenient for me, of course. And I took a look at, I kind of watched all of the CVS and how the stores and how they've adjusted their hours. The one on Simpson Street had been, up until maybe last night, closing at 6. They went from 9 to 7 and then to 6. I don't think they were open last night. I think there were just some lights on. There was only one car in the parking lot. But the other 3 that are in Mechanicsburg are all open later, 8, 9, 11 p.m. I have a relative who works with CVS in terms of citing them in different plazas and different locations, and he reports that this CVS is not on the bottom 50% of their stores in terms of performance, so he doesn't think it's in jeopardy. But we're going to keep an eye on it. It was a very expensive property. It is owned by a CVS affiliate. They paid a little over $1.6 million for it, so it's very, very pricey. But I think that was kind of an internal shuffling of things. The PLCB liquor license laws have changed. Governor Wolf signed legislation that will allow businesses to have outdoor seating within 1,000 feet of their property. Of course, you have to have that property owner's permission. You have to abide by any local regulations. But that's in place through 2024, and that will allow businesses to continue to have added capacity. It also changes some things for caterers and others who have off-premise events, allowing them to have unlimited catering events through the year. They used to be limited to one a week, 52 in a year. That too is good through 2024. That's good news for them. Anything for me? All right, wish you the best of the season. Take care.
Thank you. All right, that concludes the liaison reports. We now move to the agenda. Are there any additions to the agenda this evening?
Yes, sir, I have 2 additions to the agenda. Discussion and action on the agreement with Chief Margaret Myers to fill the position of Public Safety Administrator. Discussion and action on a settlement agreement with Richard Wolf and accepting his resignation effective 12/31/20.
I thought we were gonna move that to the next one.
So the Chief Myers, Chief Myers one will be next meeting.
Okay, all right. Then there is one.
Thank you. Okay, we will need a motion to add that addition.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony. Is there a second?
Second.
And Mr. Miller seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, Mrs. Martin?
Unless I hear a negative response, I will record the vote as unanimous.
And the item will be added to the agenda. We now need to approve the agenda with the addition. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Igerton. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Feldman. Any discussion? Hearing none, Mrs. Martin?
Unless I hear a negative response, I will record the vote as unanimous.
All right, action items before Borough Council this evening. Mr. Ciserski.
Discussion and possible action to advertise the tax ordinance setting the tax rate for 2022. That was attachment 1 in your packet.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Igerton seconds. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Mrs. Martin?
Unless I hear a negative response, I will record the vote as unanimous.
And the motion carries. Next item, please.
Discussion and possible action on resolution 11/2021 in honor of the Mechanicsburg girls field hockey team for winning the district championship, attachment 2.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Luker. Okay. And do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Igerton. I might add to that both of the items that we're doing, both those teams did go to the state tournament. And the field hockey team actually ended up in the semifinals. So, just to throw that in. There's no other comments, for discussion. Mrs. Martin?
Unless I hear a negative response, I will record the vote as unanimous.
And the motion carries. Next item?
Discussion and possible action on resolution 12/2021 in honor of the Mechanicsburg girls soccer team for winning the district championship, attachment 3.
I'll make that motion.
Second. And it's been moved by Mr. Miller and seconded by Mr. Anthony. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Mrs. Martin?
Unless I hear a negative response, I will record the vote as unanimous.
And the motion carries. Next item, please.
Discussion and possible action on service contract with the Humane Society of the Harrisburg area for animal protective services for 2022, attachment 4.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Feldman. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Igerton seconds. Any discussion?
Yeah, Chief, your sticky note on there that said, decision needed on number 9, we have not used it in the past, check, do not wish. So that's, do we need to make a decision, or is that just, we're not doing it sort of thing?
That's usually a decision made
by council?
Yeah.
Okay. That's probably something we'd have to decide.
Is that something we've never had that before? Would that add to, I mean, would that make it easier for our guys when they dealt with an injured animal, or?
It's hard to say. It never really had to come out for anything, but I think it's strictly their business hours, and I don't think we get anybody after hours anyway. We just never used it in the past, right?
But it's only, they only charge you if, it's not a charge that's there just in case, they only charge you if you have it, right?
Yes, it's $150 per call.
What would we do ordinarily? I mean, I remember this happening when I was on the department, and
We usually just, I mean, honestly, we put them in the police car and take them off to the emergency hospital, which is not that far away. So, then, we haven't incurred any bills from that either, because most of the animals have had owners, so. We'll be looking at a larger bill over there.
So we'd have to make a decision on that, which seems like.
We would have to.
Yeah. I would think in the past we haven't used it, and, right?
Right.
Yeah.
There it is.
It's on the bottom after.
It's after the signature.
Yeah.
So, my only question is, if we accept this, do we tell them we accept it minus number 9, or is that?
There's a block that I can check.
It's a checkbook.
Yeah, okay,
We'll check.
all right.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Mr. Booker, for bringing that up. So, the motion is to accept the contract without number 9, is that? Well, that would,
I didn't make the motion, so I can't do anything.
Mr. Feldman made the motion.
I gotta revise my motion to, that without number 9.
Okay, and Mrs. Iverson, you, and she agrees. Okay, so it's been properly moved and seconded to accept the Humane Society, proposal, for protective services minus item number 9. Any discussion? Any further discussion? Hearing none, Mrs. Martin?
Unless I hear a negative response, I will record the vote as unanimous.
And motion carries. Thank you. Next item, please. Discussion and action to issue a borough opposition letter to Senate Bill 775 to Senator Reagan.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Feldman, seconded by Mrs. Iverson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Mrs. Martin?
Unless I hear a negative response, I will record the vote as unanimous.
And motion carries. Thank you. Next item. Discussion and action on expenditures for all funds for the period beginning November 1st, 2021 through November 30th, 2021. And they are as listed below. Do I have a motion? So moved. Thank you, Mr. Anthony. Second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Iverson seconds. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Mrs. Martin?
Unless I hear a negative response, I will record the vote as unanimous.
Thank you, and the bills are paid. And we do have one additional item. Yes, sir. Discussion and action on a settlement agreement with Richard Wolf and accepting his resignation effective 12/31/21.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Mrs. Iverson. Is there a second?
One second.
Thank you, Mr. Feldman. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, Mrs. Martin?
Unless I hear a negative response, I will record the vote as unanimous.
And motion carries. We now are at the point in our meeting where citizens have a second opportunity for comment. Are there any citizens at this time? Hearing none, is there any other business? We'll start with Mrs. Martin and make our way around.
No, sir, thank you.
It's been a pleasure to serve Borough Council and Borough residents the past 20 years, and I'm looking forward to my retirement, which starts Friday.
To a point.
She's
starts, training starts Friday, and then, the 20th, she'll start to train the new treasurer for the Borough of Mechanicsburg, that starts. So, no, Glenda's been great to work with. We've had our disagreements, we've argued and fought, and, I'm sure everyone in the front office heard a few times when we went at it, but, she's filled in for me the last couple of weeks, and kept me abreast of what's going on, when I've been out with treatments and stuff like that, so, I can't thank her enough for all the years that she's put in here at the Borough. She got thrown into a position, and she's done the best that she could with that all the way through, and for her to get the opportunity to retire and enjoy herself, I think she's gonna stay in the Borough, so we probably haven't heard the last of her, folks.
Complain about.
Halloween parade. Halloween trick or treat, baby. She'll break the girls in right. We'll leave it at that. So, no, it's been great working with her. I've learned a lot from her, and, I wish her the best, the absolute best.
Thank you. Matt?
Sure, thank you. I would just add my heartfelt gratitude. I learned a lot as well. Thank you for all of your service and all that you've done to help the council, help the borough. Appreciate it. Don't go too far, we're gonna be calling.
And I'd like to thank Rebecca. She thanked us that we're leaving, and we may not get a chance to thank her in public. And I would like to say thank you for your timely reports, all that you brought to the Borough of Mechanicsburg, the nice businesses, and you can't beat it when you know what's going on all the time in town here. Thank you very much.
No?
Well, congratulations to Glenda on her retirement. It's been a pleasure sitting on this side of the council table with you for almost 10 years. I've learned a lot from you during that time.
Thank you. Cougar?
Ditto.
So let's set your part.
Glenda, I'm a little jealous, but thank you. I do appreciate, and I know I appreciate you staying on to train. I think that's a wonderful thing. I also want to acknowledge the tree lighting ceremony that happened last week. It was beautiful. It was nice to see all the families out caroling, and the tree looks beautiful with all of the lights, so it was a nice event. I think you were there, Councilman Boozer. Yeah, but I didn't hear him singing, so.
It was that yellow angelic.
Any assistance with that?
Yeah, voice lessons for Mr. Boozer. But thank you to everyone that had a part in getting that done.
Dr. Cassidy? Rogowski?
Congratulations, Glenda. I hope you never, ever have to come to another municipal meeting.
That's all I have. I would also like to congratulate Glenda. She's been fantastic to work with as I've been learning this position over the last, I think it's almost 5 years at this point. So thank you to her for all her work for the borough.
So two things, first of all, thanks, Linda. Nothing but a pleasure to work with you. The other thing is, Saturday the 11th, MVFD, cookies and milk with Santa. It starts at 8 o'clock in the morning, ends at 11. It'll be at the Hill Station, 208 South York Street. It'll be a great photo op. They changed things up this year, and they made almost a postcard setting with the old antique Aaron's Fox with the Christmas trees around it, so it ought to be quite a hoot for that. And then afterwards, Santa, before he on his way back to get back to work again, he'll be making stops throughout town at other intersections. They're going to do it a little different this year because they missed a couple people last year. So if you could readily get out on the Facebook and follow MVFD, they have the intersections that are marked on the website and on Facebook, and they'll be telling you when they're going to arrive at those intersections. So that's all I have. Thank you. Steve?
Thank you, Glenda.
All right, I guess I'll get the last word, or the last thank you, Linda. And, congratulations and best wishes moving forward. We know we're gonna see you around here off and on, for a while, but, you certainly earned your retirement, and I hope that you make good use of it. Thank you for all that you've done for the borough. I have one announcement, came to me from the Legion. The Legion is going to do a flag ceremony at Chestnut Hill Cemetery this Saturday at 1 p.m. I don't know much more of the details of that, but I think they're really hoping to have some people there, for this ceremony. I really don't know why it's at Chestnut Hill and not Mechanicsburg, but nonetheless, it's our Legion that's doing it, so if you could support them, I'd appreciate it. And with that,